Well, here we are, the finale of the Arkham series. Really, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago when, back in 2009, Batman Arkham Asylum came out and showed that, yeah, there can indeed be good Batman games. No, there can be awesome Batman games. And then in 2011, Arkham City came out and said, hold on there a second, let's ramp it up a notch. And yeah, they did, and it was phenomenal. And then in 2013, Arkham Origins came by and said, okay, I didn't really bring anything new to the table, but I brought the Batwing and some Christmas jingles. Rocksteady Studios has returned to deliver the coup de grace for the Arkham series with Batman Arkham Knight, touting that this time we can be the Batman. Well, then wait, who the hell was I controlling in the last 3 games? Now, what they really mean is that with the addition of a fully controllable Batmobile, we can get the full-on Batman experience, except not really, because there still isn't an option to freely control the Batwing, the Batcycle, and shit, even the Batboat. Close enough. But before I head into what Arkham Knight brings, I got a plot to cover, and just as before, I'm spoiling things here, folks, so skip to this point of the video if you don't want to hear me talk about the story. Now, for everyone listening, I'm assuming you played the first 3 Arkham games, or at the very least watched my review on them. This time it's Halloween in Gotham City. Hey, look at that, I'm actually a little early this time around. Things have tremendously eased up since Arkham City was torn down in Joker's death, leaving demoralizing after effects to the city's crime rates. Yeah, everything seems to be settling down, but then the Scarecrow shows up and threatens to infect Gotham City with his fear toxin, giving everybody just around 24 hours to evacuate. And remarkably, the city manages to do that with little problem, and soon Gotham is left wide open for criminals and the occasional supervillain. But when there's a crime, there's a bat, and the Caped Crusader once again patrols the streets in an effort to save Gotham City from a man who seems to be trying too hard trying to give people a good Halloween scare. So with his new and improved Batmobile, the Dark Knight begins to search for Scarecrow's whereabouts, but a new face enters the scene donning not only a suit similar to Batman's, but an entire freaking militia. This is the titular Arkham Knight, and yes, he's exactly who you think he is. I got it the moment he started talking, even with that synthesized voice filter.
Always defending the weak and the helpless. That's what I like about you. Predictable.
Still, it could be worse. It could have somehow made the Joker once again a part of the plot despite him being confirmed dead, and god damn it. Okay, so here's the deal. Batman eventually locates Scarecrow's location and thwarts his attempts at covering Gotham with his fear toxin. But to do that, Batman had to inhale some of the nasty gas to neutralize the chemical weapon. And when Batman's taking swigs of Scarecrow's gas, anything can happen, and that's when Joker shows up. He's a hallucination, but a hallucination that won't leave Batman alone. It turns out Batman wasn't entirely cured at the end of Arkham City from Joker's tainted blood, and now that very blood threatens to turn Batman into a crazed lunatic. I mean, more than what he already is. A second Joker is what I mean, one with Batman's abilities. Good lord. This is pretty much the real plot of Arkham Knight, a battle within for the Dark Knight because everything else that happens around him is very routine. There's a lot of kidnapping in this game, and I mean almost everyone gets fucking kidnapped here. Poison Ivy, Oracle, Commissioner Gordon, Robin, Nightwing, Catwoman. Scarecrow's main goal of exposing Gotham to this new toxin would feel more impactful if this city wasn't already evacuated. It's true the plans need to be stopped regardless, but I think the stakes were more implied than outright shown. Now the opening in the diner kinda helped, but I needed more of that to really get an idea of how big this epidemic can be. The Arkham Knight, despite being the subtitle of the game, is amounted to a guy that wants to kill Batman out of a personal grudge, but can't because Scarecrow repeatedly says, "No, don't do that, I want to scare him first." So what we get is a villain that repeatedly shit-talks the Dark Knight, boasting all about how he knows Batman inside and out and calling him an old man, but he can never capitalize because the game will be very short if he did. There's a point where when a villain plays the slow game is more frustrating than intriguing. They really play up the mystery on who the Arkham Knight is too, and even if you don't know his identity right off the bat thanks to previous knowledge of the Batman mythos, the game makes no effort being subtle on who he really is, making the eventual reveal all too obvious. I thought this was going to be one of those big-time villainous team-up stories, not just Scarecrow and Arkham Knight, but all of Batman's rogue gallery coming together. That's kind of what I got from the trailers. With Joker gone, how does an Arkham story play without him hogging the spotlight? Apparently, one can't really exist because he's back yapping his gums in some form or another, and every other villain? They're filler. A means to pad out game time with these repetitive side quests without having any real relevance to the narrative. Returning thugs like Penguin, Two-Face, and Deathstroke are demoted to extremely anticlimactic encounters, and new encounters like Professor Pig and Deacon Blackfire are just as much of an afterthought. Deacon Blackfire especially. In this game, it's all about Batman fighting the Joker inside him and how that affects his relations with his friends or his abilities to save Gotham. And don't get me wrong, I love Mark Hamill's Joker, but I am tired of the Joker. The spotlight should have been on everyone else, but instead they wanted to find some sort of justification to bring back the Clown Prince of Crime, and I'm left disappointed and wanting because everything else is left hung to dry. Granted, that's not to say I didn't enjoy the performances of all the voice actors and actresses. Tara Strong could be a little less squeaky as Harley Quinn, but she gets the crazy part right. Honestly, the only person I'm remotely bugged by is Jonathan Banks is Commissioner Gordon. I know, I probably pissed off a lot of people saying that, and hey, I loved him in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but he sounds so bored here. Maybe he was told to play up the fatigue of the worn-out cop, and that makes a degree of sense given the context, but he sounds like he really doesn't give a shit at times.
You bastard!
So the storyline was ultimately disappointing in my opinion. Not a very strong way to end the Arkham series. However, I primarily play Batman games to punch villains in the face, so let's see what Arkham Knight has to offer. Well, let's start off by saying that when it comes to the Batman, there wasn't a whole lot changed at all. Batman is about as much of an ass-kicker as he was in Arkham City and Arkham Origins. You're still required to use your gadgets and wit to overcome obstacles and solve conniving conundrums, currently creating crazy circumstances for the Caped Crusader. Whew. You get experience for completing objectives, and you use that to further upgrade the Batman, whether it's more health or more ways to deliver the Bat Pain. The most substantial add-on for him in this game are fear takedowns. If you get the jump on a group of thugs, you can instantly knock up to 3 to even the odds very quickly, and you can upgrade that to take out up to 5 thugs. It's fun to use when you can pull it off and not as broken as the shock gloves were in Origins. Whether the goon is holding a knife, a gun, or carrying those godforsaken riot shields, Batman shrugs all that off to plant that asshole's face on the ground. Won't do much against the big foes, unfortunately. They're invulnerable to that sort of tactic. The enemy variety has been cranked up significantly, and just a bit of a heads up, Arkham Knight kinda assumes you played the other games because this shit is not beginner friendly, and it doesn't take long for things to begin escalating. You thought those giant thugs in Origins were bad? Well, how about giant thugs with riot shields, or stun batons, or knives? Enemies that can track you in detective mode, enemies immune to your detective mode, sentry guns, enemies that can revive fallen enemies, or give them electric shields. Ooh, fuck those. Hey, the Arkham Knight may not deliver in character, but he certainly delivers in giving Batman a challenge. I'll give him that. The Dark Knight's gotta be on his A game. It's not really all that difficult to adapt, and depending on where the fight is located, you can use your environment to deliver instant takedowns, and those are awesome to pull off on big guys and medics. Yeah, fucking jerks. I find that combat only falls apart during those moments where you're fighting against like 5 different classes of mook all at once. I'm talking electrified goons with a big guy roaming around, maybe a medic, and 2 pricks carrying riot shields. There's only so much that Batman can manage at once, and multitasking gets too hectic to process fully. The stealth mechanics are still as satisfying as they ever were, sneaking up behind the unsuspecting foe and silently taking them down or hanging them upside down from a vantage point. Though getting creative never hurts as well either. The game encourages that sort of thing, so use that remote hacking device to bring down that chandelier or activate the electric floor. The rewards are worth it. The additions are welcomed, and I think it adds enough to keep the on-foot gameplay fresh, but it's still largely the same as before, and I don't want to spend too much time on things I already praised the hell out of in the other Arkham games. But if you listened closely, you'd notice that I said on-foot gameplay. Let's talk about the biggest thing Arkham Knight brings to the formula, Batman's car. This no-nonsense high-speed tank is the newest addition to your arsenal, and by God, it's as important to Batman as the very suit he wears. You will learn to love the Batmobile, whether you want to or not, because without it, Batman can't do well over half the shit he accomplishes in this game. You can use the Batmobile for 2 things most of the time. You can either drive like a madman on the streets of Gotham, going about 300 miles per hour, causing tons of non-lethal collateral damage or tons of non-lethal hit and runs. Yes, I said non-lethal hit and runs. Or you can use its battle mode to engage enemy tanks and vehicles. Not to worry, the tanks are all unmanned and remote controlled, and the Vulcan cannon fires non-lethal rubber bullets when used against thugs. I think it's safe to assume that the explosions are also non-lethal and made of rubber. Hey, we'll never know. The tanks are always empty. It's so ridiculous that a man who lives and dies by a no-kill code would have something like this. He won't use guns, but a fucking Vulcan cannon? Strap that shit on. I guess for a man that's always prepared for anything, there's gotta be some compromises here and there, even if they fly in the face of everything he stands against. But enough with the trivial jabs. The Batmobile is integral to Batman's progression. Now, not so much in the traveling department, though it is much faster than gliding over rooftops, but you can still do that method. But the battle mode is feverishly used to combat tanks and solve puzzles you'd never think a building would host. Dare I say, there are a lot of times where the biggest challenge is trying to find a place to park Batman's car. It's outright silly the amount of times the Batmobile is needed for Batman to simply progress on foot, but being completely frank here, I don't mind when the Batmobile is used in conjunction with Batman's abilities. Puzzle solving and taking out thugs with the combined beatdown of Batman's fists and the car's non-lethal artillery cannon is actually pretty neat to do. When the Batmobile is the payoff for solving a dilemma, that's satisfying. Also, it's very exhilarating to drive around the city with it. I love ejecting out of the seat and go straight into a super glide to go places my Batmobile can't. I really feel like I'm out on the night patrol, chasing down crooks and sideswiping any unfortunate soul that gets in my way. It's the other 80% of the Batmobile's existence that I'm not fond of, tank battles. Many times you'll be required to face off against an armada of the Arkham Knight's drones, confining the Batmobile to a small area, and you gotta destroy everything coming at you or face a grueling end. These are the worst parts of the game for me. It feels like one happens every 30 minutes, or every 20 minutes if you go after those malicious side quests. They're just tedious games of back and forth. They shoot you, you avoid it, you shoot them back. Cause enough damage and you can fire a special weapon to speed things up, but that doesn't alleviate much if you ask me. When you get experience points, upgrade the Batmobile first. Trust me, with the amount of times you're using it, it'll save you a bunch of time on the tank battles alone. Considering how huge Gotham City is, it's apparently 5 times the size of Arkham City, I'm grateful for the Batmobile as a means to go from one place to another. A part of me misses the Batwing fast travel from Arkham Origins though, and I can't think of why they would remove that feature. I'm Batman, I can't use both my car and my plane? You know what I also miss from Origins? Being unable to knock down Riddler goons for future interrogation because they're back in full force. Fuck the Riddler shit. After Arkham Asylum, this is a part of the game I legitimately do not want to see come back, side quests or not. Now, I enjoy the Riddler racetracks though, and how the Riddler, constantly gives you crap over the PA system. I wouldn't mind more of these. I know I said the reason why I was looking at the PS4 version was because of the Adam West costume, but in reality that's only part of it. Well, it should be said, Arkham Knight offers a plethora of costumes for Batman to wear. Robin, Nightwing, and Catwoman don't get nearly as many, but they have their options, and even the Batmobile has some different skins. A lot of you wanted to know whether or not I was going to bother bringing up the PC version of Arkham Knight. Arkham games on the PC were often flaunted as the best versions of the game, and nowadays I agree. They run so smoothly on a proper rig with nearly non-existent load times. However, to say that Arkham Knight on the PC was the total opposite on launch would be the biggest understatement of the fucking century. Low-res graphics, sluggish frame rates even on the most powerful PCs, it was so bad that WB recalled physical copies of the game and pulled the title from Steam until the issues were sorted out. Now I hear that those that were unfortunate enough to buy that version day one are receiving patches to stabilize everything, but WB still hasn't re-released the game. Now I know a lot of you were hoping that I would dig deep into that sort of thing, but the fact is the PC version isn't even fucking finished yet, and the fact that they tried to sell that at full price with the way it was is appalling. It's absolutely bullshit. This is a game that's already rocking a $40 season pass, $40 fucking dollars for around 6 months of additional content. But I won't act like the console versions are completely glitch-free. I counted 2 times the game failed to load the next checkpoint, essentially locking me out, forcing a soft reset. The game totally shut down right here. Batman got stuck in place here. Robin, there seems to be some sort of impenetrable force field in my way. Quickly, the anti-impenetrable force field repellent spray. This right here looks like Batman's doing some sort of inverted patootie? Barbara Gordon failed to load during this cutscene right here. Batman's body outright fucking disappeared here. And Lucius! Lucius, it's fucking raining inside my office! Oh, my leather seats on my computer. Lucius! Answer to Batman! This is not a good night for the Cape Crusader. No! I mean, I laughed at a few of these, but this is one of the glitchiest Arkham games I've ever played. And this is after the game already got like 3-4 gigabyte plus patches. At this rate, Arkham Knight's gonna fill up my PS4 all on its own. But about that $40 season pass, is it worth it? Well, we got 3 story packs involving Harley Quinn, Red Hood, and Batgirl. The first 2 lasting about 20 minutes, while Batgirl's scenario is a bit meatier. We have a few challenge packs involving the Bat family and more costumes for the Batman. I won't lie, I was giddy as fuck for the 1989 Batman costume, complete with the 1989 Batmobile, but you can only use it for races since it doesn't have a battle mode, which is bullshit. It had guns in the 1989 movie and it blew up the Ace chemical plant with tire bombs. Ah well, but the exclusive racetracks that are based off of the 1989 film and Batman Returns are pretty cool. I bought the season pass knowing I was going to review this game, and I enjoy some of the content, but the story packs feel more like prototypes than full-out content. I like controlling Harley Quinn and Red Hood, but these campaigns are so incredibly short they feel almost pointless. There's still a couple of months worth of content left to unlock, but I think you're better off waiting for the inevitable Game of the Year edition if you don't want to spend over $100 for the complete package. As for the main game, I have to say this is the weakest entry in the series for me, but don't take that as me saying the game is bad. No, it's still a remarkably solid action-adventure game starring the Dark Knight. The combat is still as good as it ever was, same goes for the stealth game, and the Batmobile is a great tool for getting around the city and for getting out of those tight spots. Graphically, it's fucking gorgeous and showcases what the current generation is capable of putting out, and nearly everything is rendered in real time. That means the Adam West costume for every occasion. The campaign, on the other hand, is a weak point. I'm not very captivated by the plot. The things to do in Gotham City are not very interesting. It's either straight up boring or wearisome to almost ludicrous degrees, like the militia stuff. Did I mention how this game also gets boss fights wrong when they got that part right in Arkham City? Who goofed up there? This warrants a revisit at some point. Maybe I'll provide an update when every piece of DLC is released, because that's just the nature of how things work nowadays, especially with Warner Brothers. I love the Arkham games, and Arkham Knight is fine as is, but I feel it missed the mark on being the greatest Batman game ever made. This is the grand finale of the Arkham series, but I hope this doesn't spell the end for great Batman games. Well, whatever the case, I wish Rocksteady Studios and WB Montreal the best of luck with whatever they plan on doing from this point on. Anyway, that's a wrap for the Batman. For now, I got a feeling this isn't the last time we'll see him. But while he spends his time brooding in his cave, I got other games to look at, and that straw poll, man. Metal Gear and Mother are still so freaking close, and it's almost time to close up voting. Who will win? Find out next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you guys for watching, have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care.